Think you're going to be live now or in just a
You're
minute.
live.
I think we are live. Ciao,
Of course you're
Alfred.
live.
Ciao, Alfred.
This is Alfred returning from a super secret, hypersonic, super secret trip today. Hi, Esther. How are you?
Doing great. I'm reporting from Boston. Alfred is in Sicily. I'll be back in Sicily in less than 2 weeks. So I'm very excited. We've got a great show. We've got lots of viewer questions and comments to discuss today, including some things that people do recreationally in Sicily. Also, a little bit of talking about almonds, the famous almonds of Avila. But first, Al, I want to ask you about your cool hat. Show everyone the hat. We have a few of those You, Me, and Sicily hats available. We also have some t-shirts and long sleeve shirts. So message us if
We
you
only
want
have
a few
nine
of those.
hats left. 9 hats left, Esther. Let's get rid of them today. A special price. How about $16, including shipping? All they have to
Sixteen
do
ninety
is
nine.
16.99. Okay, I read it wrong. 16.99. and and that includes the free shipping and also all our t-shirts, men's and women's t-shirts too. Out they go. Why not? It's summertime coming up, and they're gonna have to wear t-shirts.
They're great quality. And of course, they say
Yep.
You, Me, and Sicily. All right, let's start out by talking about some of the viewer questions I put in the community on our YouTube for you guys to tell us what you would like to hear more of. So I'm going to read some of the comments in no particular order. Donna Duda says almond production in Sicily. That's a great, great topic. Almonds, of course, were brought to Sicily by the Greeks. They were planted by the Greeks and flourished all over, especially in the province of Agrigento. Of course, in the province of Agrigento, there's also the almond blossom festival. And as you drive around the province of Agrigento, there's some beautiful trees with white flowers. Very, very special. And they're so beautiful next to the cherry trees because, of course, the cherry trees have a little bit of a pink color. So in February, March, April, you can see a lot of those blossoms, but they're harvested in July and September. And Alfred, I was very interested to see that 80% of the almond production in Italy is in fact in Sicily. But it's not just in
Yep.
Agrigento, not just in Agrigento. Avola, the famous Mandola di Avola is very, very popular, very sweet. And Alfred, almonds are incredibly nutritious.
Well, see, here's the thing about the Romans used to call them Greek walnuts because the Greeks were the ones that brought them over. It's got a pretty interesting history about some guy that came from Troy, a soldier who came from Troy. Did you ever read about that
The
story?
legends,
Who
of
was in
course, there's
love with
always
a
legends.
woman, right? And then she thought he died, and then he came back as a almond tree, and then she hugged the tree. I don't know what the story is about that, but it's a pretty interesting story. 80% is, you're right. 80% of all the production in Italy comes from Sicily. It's enormous, and you said you're correct. The Agrigento area has over 300 hectares of almond trees. That's an enormous amount. 1 hectare is about 2.5 acres. So you're
And there's
talking about
different
6 or 7.
And there's different
A lot of
types
them.
of almonds, right? The almonds in
Oh yeah.
Avila are different than some of the almonds in Agrigento. Some of the things that are made from almond, of course, almond wine, which is my new favorite thing.
Yeah.
Also, almond pasta. Our friend Paula makes this great pasta with almonds on it and a little bit of sauce. Almonds are widely used in sweets, of course, and they're very nutritious, incredibly nutritious,
Um,
full of low
Vitamin
cholesterol,
E. Yep. Cholesterol
magnesium,
fighters, vitamin E, magnesium, reduces
anti-inflammatory.
blood pressure. You're supposed to eat 8 a day. That's the amount. 8 almonds a day. and you'll be in great. Look at me, for example. I'm only kidding. Don't look at me. But if you
You
eat
know,
8 a day,
next to olive trees, almond trees are the biggest uh, trees known in Sicily. I was very interested to learn about that.
what do you mean
All
the
right,
biggest trees? You mean the
the
largest
the
amount of
most
trees?
the most amount of trees in Sicily
Ah,
that bear some kind of a fruit. You know, so the
you know
almond
what's
and
amazing is that
the olive tree.
California is also a enormous almond producer in the States, but they are very jealous over these Sicilian almonds.
It's
So
different out.
to prevent the sale of Sicilian almonds in the United States, they slap them with a very high tariff. So on the shelf, the price of Sicilian almonds are much higher than the California almonds. But the vastly superior ones are the ones we have here. And there's a whole plethora, so to speak, of desserts from the cassata cake everything has got shaved almonds on it, including pasta, as you know. And the granita, how can you not talk about the granita,
Granita.
Esther?
And when you say
You know,
cassata, what it is pasta de mandola. It's one of those very sweet, or pasta de mandola, or marzipan, which is an almond paste. Very, very good. In fact, I bought a whole big thing of almond um, home to my mom. And one of the other ways that they use it is they take that concentrate of almond, put it into water, and it makes almond milk. You have to leave it for 1 or 2 days. And it's very interesting when we go to the Mercato in Siracusa and also in Catania, the fish market, our guide always points out that you have to, even if it says Mandola di Avola, which is the most popular and most famous, you have to take a look at the color because it's more of a white color. Uh, because, if you get the small, and they're very, very big. So you have to keep an eye to make sure that they're not from somewhere else out of the country. All right, should we move
You know,
on to the next one?
I used to import that olive paste, the almond paste into the United States. There's a fellow in Methuen, Massachusetts, who has a very big company that makes the Italian slush or Italian ices and distributes them to all the markets over there. He called me up one
Mm-hmm.
time. He asked me if I can get him some. So I gave him a price on a whole pallet full of the almond paste, which I think he took 2 pallets, which cost a few bucks. And it lasted the guy for 2 years. And then afterwards, he didn't want to get it anymore, but people complained because the quality went right down compared to the ones that he was using. But the stuff that I sent him was the stuff that they use for the granita over here. What can I tell you?
Okay, let's
Want to hear
move on
another
to the
funny
next
story
one.
about that? One
Hmm?
time, my friend Sal, who owns a huge chain of pizzerias in New England, Sal's Pizza, he called me up and he wanted to see if I can get some Sicilian flour for him. And I was able to get some, I sent him a few skids of flour, so he did some testing for his pizza. But it actually didn't work out for the American pizza ovens, and also the
Hmm.
fact that the water in the United States has got different chemicals, and it didn't rise to the consistency that he needed. It's really unbelievable how just an ingredient like water can just throw off a very valuable product like flour.
Well,
And
well,
almond flour is also important too, right?
as I remember, there was also someone who was trying to replicate the Sicilian crispelli and couldn't because of that exact point, Alfred, that the flour and the water
Right.
didn't mix well. Just one more point about almonds. We talked about marzipan and pasta de mandola. What a beautiful job a lot of pasticcerias, the pastry shops, do in hand creating and hand painting individually these little marzipan pieces. And we did a whole episode down in Santa Venerina where I sat with this woman who has been hand painting the marzipans for over 45 years. Just very intricate, very, very beautiful work. All right, let's move on to the next question. And if you guys have a question, leave it in the comment and we'll try to get to it. Nona's World says, what are some of the recreational things that Sicilians do? Can tourists participate in any sports when visiting? And what does one do to pass the time? So recreational things that Sicilians do, well, depends on the season. Of course, in the summer, everyone goes to the beach, right? Or when it gets too hot, everyone goes up to the mountains, up to Etna to do hiking, to do bike riding, horseback riding. We've talked to you guys about our friends who have the golf course. Golf is certainly a big thing. Cycling for sure. There's also Corre Catania. A lot of races are starting to come up. The Corre Catania, which is a running race through downtown historic Catania, is in May. Up where we live, there's the Lungomare, and there's always people out walking, running, biking. I would venture to say most Sicilians, Alfred, are very, very active. So recreationally, they do things like that.
Well, not only that, but for those who like even more extreme type sports, there is paragliding, okay, parasailing, sailing. You can rent boats,
Lots of boating
fishing,
for sure.
deep sea fishing, anything pertaining to the water, a whole plethora of water sports. I mean, every you can just jump in and go down to Archie Costello and get involved in a water polo game.
Right.
Kids play
Water
water
sports
polo
are
all
big.
day long. You could do that. How about horseback riding in the mountains, the
Yep,
Nebrodi
I mentioned
Mountains
horseback
or
riding.
Madonia Mountains? Horseback riding, right?
Yeah,
And
I mentioned.
go ahead.
No, finish.
They also have all different. You said they have sports that you can play here. They have organized baseball and they have basketball. They have everything that you can think of in Sicily that they have in the United States for sports.
So
So there's
she
quite a
wanted to
bit of stuff
know.
that you can do.
She wanted to know, can tourists participate in any sports when visiting? Yeah, certainly. And one of the things that I do suggest to people that gives you a really different perspective is to take some kind of a boat ride, get out on the water to see what it looks like from the other side. It is quite a unique experience. Also by us in Aciprezza, Aci Castello, Acireale, you can go into caves. Same thing over in Lo Zingaro, over there in outside of Castellammare del Golfo, and also going swimming and things like that. A lot of recreational activities. Of course, one of my favorite pastimes when I go down into some of these villages is to watch the men play cards. A lot of card playing, right, Alfred? They just
What
in
about
the middle.
what about the festivals? I mean, the outdoor festivals.
Festivals.
The festivals alone, you could do nothing else except go from one festival after another festival. I mean, walking around every town, every city has got different type festivals. There's a million things to do. So basically, if you come here for say a 10-day trip or a 2-week trip, you'll be busy. Okay. So what can you
Yeah.
do? You could do everything else, and then you can work up a good appetite, and then you go eat. Isn't that what you do?
which is another pastime, right? But Nona wants to
That's a
know,
good pastime. Yeah.
can tourists participate in any sports? And there are, for example, when your grandkids came, didn't they go and play soccer with Massimo's kids? So it's up
Sure.
to each team,
There's many things. They can
many
even
things.
take lessons if they wanted to take lessons, soccer lessons, you name it, basketball lessons. They have all things for young kids there. One time with the Sicilian Project, we ran a summer camp for kids over here. We had over 100 children over here in Aci Bonacorsi. And that's what the children did. They learned how to speak English through sports. So that's basically
Playing games is a great
yeah,
way. All right, let's
yeah.
go to the next one. Crystal Dating Coach says, where are the best places to eat with a view? What makes the best cannoli? Love your videos. Ciao. P.S. Love you both. That she said, Esther, maybe you should have your own channel. You're so cultured and refined. Well, thank you, Crystal, but I'm having fun in
What does
this
that
one.
mean? Does that mean I'm
Maybe
not
we'll try
cultured and I'm
another one.
not refined? Is that what that means? I think I feel insulted.
No, stop it.
I'm
All
only
right, this is a
fooling
really
around.
great question. What are the best places to eat with a view? certainly there are a lot of places by the waterfront that are great places to eat with a view. Each one of the towns has, they sort of set the restaurants near the lungomare, which is the road that goes along the sea, lungomare, and a lot of great places over there to eat. But also up in the mountains, some beautiful places among nature. Um, you can sit outside. I remember we went to a farm, Alfred, and we sat outside and just ate in the wilderness, sort of the wilderness, while they served us great ricotta, great meats from the mountain town. So, any other feedback, Al, for best places with a
Well, what
view?
about
I
that
think
place that we went
each.
to, San Ambrosia? San Ambrosia, on the other
Oh,
side of Sheffield, who has the most breathtaking,
sunset.
breathtaking sunset. Sunset. You sit over there on the beautiful deck overlooking the coast, the Palaman coast, and uh, just unbelievable. There are so many. It's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
even when we went down to Shaka, okay, well, the restaurants at the bottom by the Mariner in Shaka were beautiful. There's so many.
Yeah,
This
by the water is great.
Mazzalo di Vallo. Your favorite place over there, Castellamare, or one of your favorite places, Castellamare del Golfo.
Great water.
Go. Remember
And of
that
course,
restaurant on
Taormina.
the top, the
Yeah,
top of the Belvedere? Oh my God! Or
with the
maybe someplace
view,
like San Vito Lo Capo. So no matter
certainly
where
great
you
places.
go, yeah, those are great places. And Capo Orlando is beautiful. And on this side, there's a bazillion places over here.
All right, so the
Just my own
question is,
opinion.
who makes the best cannoli? That's a really, really tough one. Very, very tough one. But one of our favorites is Piana del Albanese. The way they make that ricotta there, somehow, and it's an old Albanian recipe. Of course, the cannoli, the whole dessert of cannoli came from the Arabs. And they say that when the Albanians came, the cannolis already existed, but they perfected it. A lot of it is all about the shell too, the shell, right, Al? How they make
You
the
know,
shell. It can't be
you're right,
soggy.
and you're right, E.
It has to be crunchy.
Well, those shells over there in uh, Piano di Albanese are handmade. They're completely different from the other ones. But don't forget our friends from Isola della Femina. They had
Yeah.
very good cannoli there too. They were terrific. But everybody has cannoli. Everybody says that their cannolis are the best. I mean, you go to Catania, there's great cannoli. You go to, how about for a little town up in the Mount Etna area in Via Grande, Cafe Una? That's a killer cannoli, a killer cannoli. That's just a great cannoli. Or else my ancestral hometown, Tre Castagni, the place by the Piazza Marconi, good ones too. So no matter where you go, you got to find good cannoli. Just because Ricotta cannoli is my favorite, and even Esther likes those too, I believe. Am I correct in saying that, E?
I like it. And some people put the chocolate chips in them. I don't like it like that. I like it just with the plain ricotta and put a little bit of pistachio sprinkles on the edges. That's the best.
Yep.
Uh, let's say hello to some people. Jody, I took the train to Palermo from Patti today. It was a mixed bag of spring weather. The trains here are so awesome. Way to travel around Sicily, around and through Sicily. So true. That's one of my favorite things to do. Absolutely. Uh,
You know
let
who
me
you should
see
thank
here.
for that? You know who you should thank for that, Esther? The train system in
You mean
Italy
the
and in
train?
Sicily,
Wait,
Mussolini.
you mean the train system was always there, Al. It's them running on
Mussolini was the
time.
guy that he upped its game. The fascists actually upped its game on the. Everybody knows that people say, well, he was a no good, but at least the trains came on time. That's the old Italians
Uh,
that they would say about Mussolini.
okay. Can you guys hear us okay? Let us know if the volume is okay. We've got people joining us from all over. We've got Connecticut, we've got Sicily. Connie says Giro Sicilia is coming soon. Many, many vintage cars driving all over the island. I believe they will be there sometime in May. For sure. Giro d'Italia, it's going to go through Catania and Etna. Boy, watching those cyclists go up those steep hills in Etna is quite remarkable.
Yep, yep.
Okay. Is the ricotta made with goat or cow? It is made with sheep. It can be made with cow as well, but the best one, I believe, is the
No,
sheep ricotta.
the commercial ones that you buy, that you may buy in the supermarket, maybe those are made with cow, but the good ones are made with either sheep or goats. I mean, goats
Yeah, those
goats
are
are
the
very
best.
good. Up in the Brody Mountains for 1 month a year in Novara di Sicilia, they have a special cannoli that they make that actually has 3 different fillings in it. It's called the Digita di San Tommaso, the finger of Saint
The
Thomas,
finger, yeah,
and yeah, and it's got three. It's got a chocolate on one end, a lemon on the other end, in the middle it's got the ricotta, and people come from all over Sicily to get those. It's just crazy how
very,
delicious they are. So they,
very
they
good.
have them all over. Yeah.
All right, Dan, I love this question. Which one of the Aeolian Islands would you recommend visiting for the first time visitor to the islands off Sicily? So last year I went to Salina, one of the 7 Aeolian Islands, and we did an entire episode showing you that Salina in September was not very active. It's not a walkable island. So in other words, I mean, there are areas where you can walk. Um, but to see the entire island, you would need a car. I have not been to the other islands. I did see all the other islands, Volcano and Leaf Body, and all the other ones over there. Which what would you visit for the first time? Planatea is also very beautiful. Our friends say that that is a very fun one as well. There are some people that go island hopping. So you choose one island and then you take the ferry to the other ones, but it's very easy to get to. You go to Milazzo in the province of Messina, and they run pretty frequently, and you just take the ferry over and it stops along the way of the different islands. So it's a very doable, it's very fun, very unique islands for sure, I would see. But if you get a chance, Dan, if you go to our playlist, Explore Sicily, it's called Selena Aeolian Island. So I'll
You could
put
also
a
do a
link.
hydrofoil for Milazzo too. You could do the hydrofoil, the one
Yes.
that travels above the water as well.
Okay. Let's see. Do you know anything about salami? My grandfather was from there. In fact, funny you should say salami because that's one of the places on our June tour that we take people to a ricotta farm, a sheep farm, I should say, and early in the morning, and if we get there early enough, we can see the sheep getting milked, and then we go into the area where they make the ricotta, they make the cheese, and they go through the process. And in fact, we did a whole episode called the ricotta. What is Sicilian ricotta and how to make it on one of our videos. And the fun thing is that you get to learn about what product comes out of the different processes. Of course, there's something called tuma, Alfred, right? Which is in between the cheese and ricotta. It's one of the things that comes out of sheep's milk. They use that, in fact, to put it on pizza, put it on salad. So that's what we know about Salami. What a beautiful town that is, right, Al?
All I know is there's nothing better than some warm ricotta with a chunk of bread for the morning coming from that farm. It was unbelievable. How delicious was that?
Jim says, Al, you're looking like you're losing a lot of weight. Good, Al.
James, I
Perfect.
always loved you. I always love you, Jimmy. I always will forever.
Good. That's
James,
perfect. You're losing weight.
Jimmy
I'm
sent us
putting on
some
weight
pictures
here.
of his basil coming up. His basil's coming up. Jimmy's basil's coming up. I just planted mine, and the little guys are just starting to come up now. Within a couple of weeks, they're going to be, blossoming pretty good. I have them in the front, and I have them in the back. So this year it's going to be basil. When Esther comes back, she wants me to get some type of a tomato plant over here. So we'll go shopping for one. Maybe put it on the deck. You know, one of the ones that comes in those pots. I don't know. I'll wait for her to get home.
Okay. Let me read. Speaking of Jimmy, I was just coming to your comment on YouTube. I'm laying in bed right now and thought of a fun topic for discussion. Pasta dishes in particular parts of Sicily other than pasta alla norma. Thank you, James. I'm glad you're thinking about us while you're in bed too. So different types of pastas. We have talked a little bit. Of course, there's pasta alla sade. There's all types of fresh pasta. Al, you know what? We should just why don't we do an entire episode on pasta?
How about sea urchin? You want to do something different? Pasta with sea urchins. Those are
That's a
great. You know the
popular
ones, the
one.
little guys look like little porcupines?
Pasta with
Besides
fruta de
the anchovies,
mare,
besides the sardines, any
the
type of fish they throw
mushrooms,
in pasta over here. Huh?
the mushrooms, any kind of vegetables they throw in with the pasta, right? The broccoli, the cauliflower, great stuff.
Any type of beans they throw in the pasta. They throw anything in the pasta because that's a staple of the diet over here. I was just talking to a gal yesterday. I asked her how many times she's a little skinny thing too. How many times do you eat pasta? She looked at me like I had two heads. She says, "What do you mean? I eat pasta every day." I said, "Every day?" She goes, "Yeah, I eat pasta every day." I said, "Well, what do you put in the pasta?" I said, "You put sauce?" She says, "Never do I put sauce." I says, "Well, what do you put in?" She goes, "A different vegetable every day." Okay?
Yes, that's
That's what
fair.
people do. They get the vegetables.
Or just even fresh tomatoes, just cook them up a little bit, easy breezy.
Yeah, you're
All right.
right.
All right. Let me
It's
see
it's
here.
really helps balance the family budget. I don't mind telling you that. It compensates for high fuel prices, having regulated flour prices, so they're not charging an arm and a leg for flour or for pasta or for bread. Okay, I mean this is all vegetables that they grow here. So this is how people live here, very
Okay.
nicely.
Let me read one more comment from our YouTube page, and if you guys leave a comment here where you are right now, where you're watching right now, I'll read it. Okay. Linda wants to know, what does renting an apartment cost in Termini Meresi, Palermo? And she also wanted to know how you can purchase a hat of You, Me, and Sicily, and I already emailed her about that. So, because we only have a few more of those hats. So, first and foremost, Alfred, I think you would agree that rental prices depend on the area, depends where you are from, where you are, depends if you're in the city, depends if when it's going to be a little bit higher in the city, a little bit higher by the waterfront, it's going to be a little bit higher in the touristy. Inland, it's going to be a little bit less. Depends how many bedrooms. Depends whether it's furnished. Depends on so many things, right, Alfred? It's sort of hard to say, but can you give Alfred a little bit of the range of what people could expect on the island from maybe the cheapest to the
Yeah,
most
sure.
expensive?
If you're talking about in a decent place, as you said, you could expect to pay between 600 and 900 euro per month plus utilities. So between 750 to $1,000 a month for a good place. Could even be a gated community, two-bedroom place. Of course, if you want one-bedroom places, they're even cheaper. And by the way, yes, you can rent one-bedroom places here fully furnished. If you want a big villa, a freestanding house, they call them villas here. Those are someplace between 1,200 and 2,000 euro a month, depending on the location and how many bedrooms you want and how big of a yard you want. So they have everything here, really. So it depends on what your
And it
budget
depends
is.
also if you're in a condo, right?
Yes.
If you're in a gated place, you're going to pay a little bit more on your monthly rent. So lots of things to consider. For those of you who are joining us on this live, Andrew Parisi says, I was looking for you guys on Wednesday. Yes, we do come to you regularly on Sunday and also on Wednesday. We had to change it for some personal conflict of scheduling. So, but we're here now, so it's a good thing. Uh, Ed says,
Yep.
is cavatelli pasta mainly used with pasta dishes, and is cavatelli popular in Sicily? If not, what is, Alfred?
Yeah, it is. It is. I just had some 2 days ago. I had it with uh, red meat sauce that I made up, but you could have it anyways. You're talking about the small guys, okay? Now they sell them here two different ways. They sell them fresh. In the market, you could buy them fresh for about a pound. It's like $1.99. Or you can buy them dry, like like you go on the shelf and the shelves over there. And there it's about 99 cents a kilo, because I'm talking about a kilo, so there's a lot of it. So those are good pastas. And by the way, they have so many different varieties of pasta here that you want to get confused, but after a while you kind of settle into the ones that you like. People used to say when I was a kid, we like pastina. Pastina are the small little ones, right? Well, you come over here and you could find literally 10 or 12 different types and different sizes of and different shapes of pastina. So then you say, okay, I want a rigatoni. So you could find half rigatonis, rigatonis, rigatonis with lines, rigatonis without lines. You could find the big fat rigatonis. You could find the ones that you stuff for shelves. I mean,
It's
the
unbelievable, the
usually
variety.
it's a whole grocery aisle on both sides of pasta
Different
that you
types
want.
of pasta.
Different types of pasta. And then you
It's a,
go into the refrigerated section, not the
and
freezers,
there's
but
the
the
fresh
refrigerators
pasta.
over on the side, and you've got the fresh stuff there too. So there's a lot. You know what you don't have a lot of? Very hard to find a ravioli with cheese. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll find a market that has one or two types of, surprisingly, huh?
Well, they
Ravioli
do
with
have them.
cheese is not,
They have
yeah, they have them,
ravioli
but
with
it's not,
ricotta. They have it with
yeah, but it's
ricotta.
right, but it's not like in the United States where you could have ravioli with pumpkin, ravioli with this, ravioli with that. There's usually, there's a whole couple of companies there that have a bigger assortment than
Yeah,
raviolis for some
it's
reason.
not
Over
a.
here,
It's
they
not
all
a big
make it. Even
Sicilian.
the restaurants make their own raviolis. I think that's why, probably.
Actually, the ravioli with the cream of zucca, right? The pumpkin cream over there at
That's
Piccolo
delicious.
Mundo. That's
Your
very,
sister,
very good. But
your
it's
sister
not like a
Bernadette loved
very.
that.
Jim loved it. A lot of people. My mom loved
Yeah.
that for sure. That's one of their favorites. But Alfred, I want to ask you. We talk about pasta. It's true though that you want to have different types of pasta with different types of meals, right? So, like the nero di
Right.
sappia, right, with the squid ink, you want to have it mostly with a linguine or a spaghetti. You wouldn't have it with a different cut. So it depends on what
You wouldn't
kind of
have
a
it with a
dish,
shortcut. That's correct.
right?
The same thing with clam sauce or any of those things.
But they don't really
There are
have
about three
clam
or four
sauce
different
here,
cuts of
Al.
long cuts to do. Pardon me?
They don't have clam sauce in Sicily. They don't have it like we do in the United
Vongole.
States.
No, they don't have it like they do in the United States out of a can, if that's what you're talking about. But they
Yeah.
have pasta with vongole. They have pasta with clams, which are the little ones, a whole different type of little ones. And they'll give you usually with linguine or something like that with the pasta.
Nick says, in all the times I spent in Sicily, I never had a bad cannoli, right?
There you go.
It's
Or a
true.
bad gelato.
When you cut, or a bad granita, or you know what, a bad meal for that matter. But it's very interesting. You have to make sure that it's fresh, right? Because the next day it gets a little bit soggy. You put it in the fridge and the shell goes down. So that's that. All right.
I have to
Uh,
tell you a story about that, about freshness, Esther. When I went to a market, and I won't say which one, they were having a blowout sale on Columba cakes. $2.99, right? So I says, what the hell, I'll buy one, figuring I can nibble off the top, right? So I cracked it open last night just to taste it, and the damn thing was hard as a rock, okay? So I said, well,
mm,
I'm going to throw it away. Then I said, wait a minute, this is all made with flour, so I'm going to feed the birds. So I took the Columba cake and squashed it all together. I made 6 snowballs out of Columba cake. And this morning I threw them in the field, right? And the
oh, Alfred.
birds, I was going Buona Pasqua when I was throwing them, right? They
You're
Hey, why
nuts.
not? They're birds, right? For $2.99, I got my $2.99 worth, and the birds ate great. They ate great. They didn't mind that it was a little bit stale.
All right. I'm just looking through some of these comments. Joseph said, because I asked also if they liked this format. And by the way, we had Penny say that she's happy with the mix of locations and the live. So, we're going to be doing the live shows while I'm in the United States because the internet is better here. That's completely different. The other one is Joseph says Palermo Cefalù would like to move there and have not been there in a very long time. So for Cefalù, we did an entire episode on Cefalù. That's also in our playlist, Explore Sicily. And Palermo, we talked about it in the past where we went, remember, Alfred, we did a little video of Palermo, Montreal, San Vito La Capo. But I'm looking forward when we have our June tour, Alfred, on the West Coast, which, by the way, you guys, we still have some spots open on that one where we'll go to Palermo. I want to do an entire episode on Palermo. Right now, I'm working on Porto Empedocle in the province of Agrigento. I'm in the production of that, so we should have that maybe by next week or so.
Wait a
Right.
minute. May I say something, E? May I say
Yes,
something?
honey.
Really? You look marvelous today. I agree with that woman. You look very, besides beautiful, cultured, and refined. So I agree with that woman that said that fun stuff. You should be on 60 Minutes. I'm going to write 60 Minutes with the mighty Vita. Why not?
Paul says, I'm finding it difficult to find an apartment for a year to lease along the sea and near services. So many places along the sea rent only for the summer season. Any tips?
Yeah, I do. Figure out what town you want to go to, step one. Step two, go to Facebook. Step three, go to Facebook Marketplace of that town. Okay? That's where the locals advertise. There's no realtors involved. Every town on Facebook Marketplace has real estate, cars, furniture. I bought 2 pieces of antique furniture over here. Esther's eyeballs popped out of her head for our bedroom a couple of years ago. I paid €150 for 2 pieces that were both 150 years old, that if I had to go into the States, I would have paid a couple of grand each. So you want to go to Facebook Marketplace, the town that you want, whether it's Arcitrezza, Catania, Palermo, Trapani, no matter what it is, and those locations will come up. Okay? That's what I think.
The other one, Idealista, right? Lista.com.
Huh?
Lista.
Yeah. I think that's overrated myself, but I like Facebook Marketplace myself. I've sent a lot of people there, and they were able to do that. Hey, listen, before we end this program, because I know we have to cut it.
Say, wait a sec. The other thing I would say real quick is, Paul, let me know what towns you're looking at, because we do have some friends across the island that have places, for example, in Syracuse, down in Arcitrezza.
Anna.
Yeah, Alfred, in Anna, we have Connie here, Connie Milano. I think I saw her earlier, that knows a lot of places. We are going to be ending here in just a minute or so. Let me read a couple more comments. A lot of ravioli fillings, mixed spinach and ricotta in Castellammare del Golfo. I had a wonderful pistachio ravioli. Pistachio with everything, right? Pistachio and almond with everything.
Yep.
Okay,
on Sunday
Dan,
show,
wait a sec. Dan,
okay.
Wait a sec. Dan, I'm not seeing Sicily Coast on your website. Am I missing it? No. Dan, why don't you email me or message me on Facebook or message me, and I'll get you that information for sure.
May I say one thing before we go?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to make sure you tune in on Sunday because I have a story for you about a gal who sent me an email this week, and come to find out, she was one of my employees
Save
20
the
years ago.
save the story. Save the
Yep.
story.
It's a
Save the
great
story.
story. Okay, so when on Sunday I'm going to tell the story. I was really happy to, just to
All
read
right.
the email.
On that note, thank you guys for tuning in and spending this time with us. Keep your comments and questions coming. We'll read some more on the next show. On that note, honey, great show. I love you. I'll see
I
you
love
in
you too,
person in
Buster.
a couple of weeks. And have a
Hey,
great
listen,
day,
keep on
everyone.
staying elegant. Keep on staying elegant, kiddo. And give your mom a big hug and
Arrivederci.
a kiss for me, okay?
I will, honey. Love
Savenadita.
you.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.